For over 2 decades, one name loomed large over the NFL: Tom Brady. 7 Super Bowl titles, 10 Super Bowl appearances, countless records, and a legacy that redefined greatness. But for every legend, there are those careers that were shaped and sometimes overshadowed by one's dominance. These are the stories of the QBs who had to face Tom Brady in his prime and how their legacies might have been different forever. These are the victims of Tom Brady. It's easy to sit back and marvel over the career of Tom Brady and what he was able to accomplish. But when you really take a step back and you think about the careers that were affected and the legacies that were never accomplished because of his reign over the NFL, it's quite impressive. The first victim of Tom Brady, quarterback Ben Roethlisberger of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The forgotten great. Yes, Ben Roethlisberger is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He was no slouch by any means, but his road to greatness was blocked constantly by Tom Brady. We will always think of Ben Roethlisberger was able to get 2 Super Bowl rings, a Pittsburgh Steeler great. But what could he have been if it wasn't for Tom Brady? Ben Roethlisberger versus Tom Brady in the playoffs, a record of 0-3. Lost the AFC Championship to Tom Brady in 2004 and 2016. Tom Brady's Patriots outscored the Steelers 104-60 in those games. The Pittsburgh Steelers, led by Ben Roethlisberger, were constantly knocking on the door to make the Steelers look like they were the new kings of the AFC and be the top dog that was constantly going to Super Bowls. But every time the Pittsburgh Steelers knocked, Brady slammed that door shut. Ben Roethlisberger has a great legacy, but it's not Tom Brady great. Ben Roethlisberger maybe could have been talked about one of the greatest of all times, but instead, he's not. And in this era, that made all the difference. So he finds himself one of the victims of Tom Brady. Victim number 2, quarterback Philip Rivers, the what-if warriors. Philip Rivers is also known as one of the greatest quarterbacks in San Diego Chargers history. He could flat out sling it. A successful 17-season NFL career, he threw for 63,440 passing yards and 421 touchdowns, earned 8 Pro Bowl selections and a Comeback Player of the Year award. But despite his individual achievements in leading the Chargers to multiple playoff appearances, he never reached the Super Bowl, and I wonder why. The heartbreak Philip Rivers had to face. Tough, gritty, always in the fight, and always falling behind Brady. A career record versus Tom Brady of 0-8. Yes, Philip Rivers never beat Tom Brady. He had an AFC Championship loss back in 2007 where he also torn his ACL. Total playoff eliminations by Tom Brady, 2. If it wasn't for Tom Brady and his dominance in this era, how many Super Bowls could Philip Rivers have made? And could he have gotten that elusive Super Bowl victory? And we would be talking about Philip Rivers in a total different light. He may be a Hall of Famer one day, but he would be a sure bet fire Hall of Famer if it wasn't for Tom Brady. Rivers had the stats. He definitely had the heart. What he didn't have was a path around Brady. And without that, the Hall of Fame case, it's a little murky. Victim number 3. Aaron Rodgers, the talent that just couldn't translate. When you think about Aaron Rodgers, you think about a generational talent. One of the most talented arms of his generation. 1 ring, 4 MVPs. But in the postseason, when Brady entered the NFC in 2020, Rodgers got exposed. The NFC Championship game in 2020, Tom Brady beat Rodgers at Lambeau Field. Rodgers had a chance to tie, but the coach took the ball out of his hands. Tom Brady in that game, 3 touchdowns, 1 season in the NFC, Super Bowl bound once again. It was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers' NFC. He owned it. It was always supposed to be him. But Tom Brady walked into the NFC conference and immediately did what Rodgers hadn't done in over a decade. And that was simply win. Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers is 3-1 in head-to-head matchups, with, of course, the 1-0 in the postseason. If Aaron Rodgers was able to overcome that loss against Tom Brady in the NFC divisional round and go on to win another Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers maybe would never have left Green Bay Packers, and we would be talking about a guy who has now won multiple Super Bowls, and he lived up to his legacy. But instead, he's still searching, and he's now on his 3rd team in 4 years. Guys, if you are enjoying this video, do me one favor, hit that like button because it always helps out the video. And if you haven't yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Join this team, join this fam. As we are approaching the season coming up, we'll be doing more film breakdowns and more documentaries like this. Let's continue to move on to these victims. The next victim, Russell Wilson, the 1-yard legacy. Russell Wilson, at the time very young, explosive, a fearless leader, could have been a new face of the NFL. In 2014, he had the chance to become the first back-to-back Super Bowl champion in over a decade. But Tom Brady stood there. In Super Bowl 44, the Seahawks led 24-14, entering the 4th quarter. But then, Tom Brady throws 2 touchdowns in the 4th, finishing with 328 yards and 4 touchdowns. And of course, we all know the final play. Wilson throws an interception at the 1-yard line. Why in the heck would they not just hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch? And of course, that decision cost them a Super Bowl. But if it wasn't for Tom Brady's comeback in the 4th quarter, they would have never been put in a position to where they had to decide to try to throw a slant that Malcolm Butler was able to undercut and intercept for another Tom Brady victory. The Patriots would win 28-24. One decision changed everything. And had the Seahawks maybe handed that ball off, Wilson would have 2 rings. Brady would have 1 less. The legacy, not as good. But instead, Brady left the field with his 4th Super Bowl victory, and Wilson, well, started to go downhill after that. It's a haunting memory that would follow the rest of his career. He's never really been able to return to the big stage since. 1 pick and 1 more victim to Tom Brady. Next victim up, quarterback Matt Ryan, the 28-3 ghost. Now, this territory, pretty tragic. Matt Ryan wasn't just a victim. I guess you could say he was the sacrifice. Matt Ryan was always a very solid quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. A long 15-season NFL career, he amassed 62,792 passing yards and 381 touchdowns. He earned 4 Pro Bowl selections, and you might forget, he was an MVP award winner one time. But does he really have a legacy? And if he does, it is because of this moment. Super Bowl 51, the Falcons led 28-3 with 17 minutes to go. And then Tom Brady goes on to throw for 466 yards, 2 touchdowns, and leads possibly the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Matt Ryan never recovered. The Falcons, they haven't either. That single game redefined 2 careers. For all the haters of Tom Brady during this era, saying that they were just in denial, that it was Bill Belichick and the defense and all of these things. If you are a Tom Brady hater, trust me, you said it all. But that single game, it stamped Tom Brady's legend and grew him to this immortal status. But that same game also made Matt Ryan's fall into football folklore. One comeback, one GOAT, another man's peak and another man's fall. This brings us to the biggest victim of all, Peyton Manning, the rival turned roadkill. Let's start with Peyton Manning, arguably the most skilled regular season quarterback of all time. I personally have him as the second or third greatest quarterback in NFL history. An 18-year career playing with the Colts and the Broncos, 71,940 passing yards, 539 touchdowns. He also holds records for most passing yards and touchdowns in a season. Manning won 5 MVP awards, 2 Super Bowls, one with the Colts and one with the Broncos, and was named Super Bowl MVP once. But versus Tom Brady, and in the playoffs, it's a different story. Tom Brady was 11-6 head-to-head career versus Peyton Manning. In the playoffs, Tom Brady led 3-2. Brady ended Manning's Super Bowl hopes in 2003, 2004, and again in 2014. Every time Manning geared up for a postseason run, Brady was the final boss. Even with better stats in the regular season, Peyton Manning had to watch Tom Brady collect rings while he collected more questions. Peyton Manning will go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it, but he could have been the greatest of all time. Peyton Manning could be who we call the GOAT, but he's not. It simply is Tom Brady. 10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 Super Bowl titles, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, more playoff wins than 27 NFL franchises. He didn't just beat legends, he erased their legacies. Tom Brady, 35 playoff wins. Manning, Rodgers, Breeze, Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, combined 49. Brady wasn't just the best. He prevented greatness in others. He simply ruled an era so completely that Hall of Fame quarterbacks will forever live in his shadow. These are always going to be the victims of Tom Brady. As always, guys, stay humble, stay kind, peace.